It was a miracle. The 6 treatments was something that I had been needing for a long time. I never imagined that that was possible. I have always had problems with depression, even as a young teenager. By the time I was 16, I had been hospitalized, diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Nobody knew much about it. It had been just called manic depression. Recently, everybody was starting to call it bipolar disorder. Nobody knew really what it was about. My family was clueless. I was a very unhappy teenager. And never was able to get my depression fully under control. I made it through college with my depression and my mood swings, got into working a job, realized that I was having some serious problems again when I was about in my late 20s. I sought help from my new psychiatrist that I've had for quite some time, and we tried every medicine, every combination. I'd always have those symptoms that you've got to stop taking it. So it seems like I'm very allergic to a lot of medications. So it seemed like I was always back on the normal lithium, an antidepressant, and a mood stabilizer that were all old school medicines. And that worked very well for a long time. I was able to hold it in the road. But then as life, takes its turns, the depression was so bad, and really for no reason. I have a wonderful life. I just couldn't stop thinking that I just couldn't be here anymore. I was very suicidal, although I did never want to die. It was just that it would never get off of my mind. We tried changing my medicine, it didn't work. So the only alternative we had then was I had ECT treatments. I had a couple of rounds of that and it knocked it out. And I considered it a miracle, although the side effects from it were devastating. I lost previous months to the ECT treatments of my life. Even to today, I have significant memory problems. It was a price we had to pay for me to get the help. So as the years went on, I was still very grateful for my ECT treatments. In 2018 into 19, the depression was so bad, I just couldn't see it out. I couldn't see any way other than I just couldn't do this anymore. So we went back to the doctor, tried to get set up for ECT treatments, and at this point the process for getting approved for ECT treatments takes at least 2 weeks. I was suffering every day. So one of my friends suggested that we look into ketamine. We knew about ketamine, but we didn't know it was in Knoxville, and we thought it was very expensive, so we didn't even consider it. When we heard that Revitalist was here in Knoxville, my husband called them and they got us in the next day, interviewed us, and got my history and scheduled immediately my first ketamine infusion. I was very skeptical. I was still very depressed. After the first ketamine infusion, I was hopeful. I didn't really necessarily want to admit it. We talked with the doctor about the ECT treatments and the ketamine. Everyone was aware, everybody was on board. He said, let's let you finish your 6 rounds of ketamine before we decide whether we're going to do the ECT or not. He didn't say that I couldn't have the ECT, so that's what I was clinging on to, that I would try the ketamine, but in the end, I just felt like I was going to be going for the ECT anyway. I did the 6 rounds of ketamine, and I would say it was a miracle because I didn't need the ECT treatments. I was in such a better place. I had worked through so many things that were bringing me down and had been on my mind my entire life that had never been resolved. And I've been in counseling off and on 30 years and never resolved any of these issues. I just felt relieved of it. It wasn't that I found an answer to those issues, it was that I moved past it. It was an awakening, they've said, and I've said, it's like an out-of-body kind of thing that you're able to sit back in another chair and listen to it and get past it. I never imagined that that was possible. I had always hoped and worked hard to try to get past any issues that I had, but they always kept coming back. This is something that is just totally different. My family was dumbfounded. The quick turnaround of the 6 treatments was something that I had been needing for a long time. I hate that I had not had access to it before. I would recommend this to anyone that was having any depression problems, suicidal, just issues in life that you can't get past. I have talked to so many people about it, so many of my doctors about it. My psychiatrist is very open to the idea and thinks it's a wonderful thing. I just can't say enough good about it. Jeff just helped me through a very tough time.